Hey friends, it's Ruben with Hi-Fi MIDI. Thanks for joining me for another video. Oops, I have some sound coming in through my speakers. There you go. Anyway, this is how to program fingerstyle guitar VST in your DAW. It seems like my titles keep getting longer and longer, and sometimes I have a little moment of panic because I start to forget the title. Anyway, this is exercise number 11, I believe. So thanks for joining me. If you're out there, please say hi. I'd like to know who's out there watching me. Anyway, so this is number 11. My goal is to get progressively more difficult, or to show you more difficult exercises so that you could follow along and learn the ins and outs of Ample-Sound's guitar software. So in this video, I'm going to focus on finger picking, which for the most part is limited to classical guitars, and if you're using a steel guitar, it's used without picks, unless you have those picks that go on your fingertips. But usually it's just the bare finger. So because of that, I'm going to be using Ample Guitar Tailor with the finger library. You can use a pick in Strum library, but it's not how you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to play this style of playing. So this demo track that I have is my cover of Dust in the Wind by Kansas, and many of you might recognize this. So here it goes. The little strum at the end was a little late, but I just added that like right before the video. So I'm going to play this for you, just the guitar track so you can hear it. So it's basically 4 measures of arpeggio, and then I looped it. Just because I want to keep these exercises short and manageable, that way I hopefully keep your attention. All right, so if you're wondering what the other tracks were, this is Keyscape, then Ample Bass Upright, and then I have a shaker. Oops, sorry, this is Cuba. Somewhere around there is a shaker. All right, so let's go into Riffer. If you have your instance of Ample Guitar, we're gonna go into Riffer. Now, right now I'm in 4/4 and 96 beats per minute. However, in Riffer, for this exercise, we're going to set it to 2/4. And sometimes there's issues when you're using Riffer within Cubase or even Logic, where changing the meter doesn't really change anything on the interface. If that happens, well, I think it's a bug. You might have to reopen that instance of your guitar. All right, so right now it's set to 2/4 meter. And the reason for that is because this arpeggio is very repetitive rhythmically, so we're going to do a lot of copying and pasting. And it's in the key of C major, and I have 8 bars set up. So this is really easy. We're going to go to the A string, click on the first one on the first beat, and then we're going to drag up to C. Then we're going to go to the B string, click on that one, drag it up to C. Oops. Next, we're going to go to the D string, drag it up to E, and then the G string is going to be open. So we're creating a C major chord like this, which is the intro to Dust in the Wind. Make sure that this is set to sync, riff sync toggle. That means that it's going to play back at the speed of your DAW. Otherwise, you're going to get some weird tempos. So on the second beat, we're going to play C again. And then right after that, we're going to play C, the high C. And then repeat this rhythm right here, E and G. Let's play that. So if we cut this down to one measure, it would sound like this. I'm going to make it 8 measures now. And now we're going to drag all of these so that they sustain. And let's play that real quick. I'm going to switch it back to 1 so you can hear the loop. Now, right click on that measure, then copy to measure 2. And then you're going, all these notes that are cut off, we're going to drag them into the second measure so that they're overlapping. We're going to do the same thing for measure 3, copy to measure 3, measure 4 as well. And we're going to close that gap. All right, let's hear that. It's coming together. Now, the second measure, we're going to pull that down to a B so that we can start creating a melody. Third measure, drag it up to D. Let's hear that. Okay, now we're going to copy measure 1 to measure 5. This is going to be our new chord. So this is going to go down to A. Now notice that the bass line is repeating these notes. C, 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 C. This is called Travis picking, where the bass is just repeating. Sometimes it alternates between 2 notes. All right, and this one we're not going to join the previous chord, and I'll show you why later. So let's play that from there. This one's going to be a B. And the E and G are going to stay the same. So now we're going to go to measure 5, right click, copy to measure 6, close that gap. Copy to measure 7, close that gap, and then copy to measure 8. I think this might be different, but we'll see. So I'm going to click on measure 5, any note, and then it's going to play back from there. All right, so now we're going to change the melody to B, D on the 6th measure, C on the 7th measure, and B on the 8th measure. So let's hear that from the beginning. So it already sounds pretty, but there are a few things that we're going to change in this later on, but they're going to be outside of Riffer. But the first thing I want to change in here is, well, it's not really the first thing. The next thing, thank you, Rafaela, is right here. I'm going to get rid of this note because I want there to be some separation right here. And in between these, I'm going to have a string slide noise. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. On the effects line right here, we're going to click on there. Then we're going to go up to this effects menu, drop down menu, and hit scratch. Then we're going to do the same thing to the end, the very end. Oops, there you go. We're going to drag this to the left, create a gap, and then change that to scratch noise. So it gives it a slightly more realistic playback because it simulates the hand moving to the next position. So there's a gap in the sound right there. All right, that sounds nice, but there's something fake about it. And there are two things. One of them is that every single note is played perfectly at the same exact dynamic level. And if you're playing fingerstyle picking, some of your fingers are stronger than the others, and you're going to get some inconsistencies in the dynamics. The other thing is the timing. The timing on this is perfect. And I'm going to show you how you can humanize those two features. Now, I'm still getting familiar with Cubase, so I know there's probably a better way to do this, but this way is not difficult. So we're going to click out of that really quick. I'm going to delete this. Now I'm going to drag this MIDI file. By the way, remember to save it. I'm going to drag this MIDI file into my DAW. And then I'm going to double click on it to open my MIDI editor window. And I'm going to turn off my my keyboard cam right now so you can see better. All right. So here we can see all the notes that trigger the samples, and then we see everything that Riffer was doing. We're not going to mess with these little things down here. We're only going to mess with these up here. So you have to select all of these notes. Make sure you don't select these right here, only the long notes. We're going to go to our quantize settings, and we're going to randomize this. I'm going to choose about like 7 or 8. And what that's going to do is it's going to slightly vary the tempo at which those notes are played. And that's going to give you an accurate but a human element to it. So I'm going to randomize. And now if you look very closely, you can see that there is some inaccuracy in the time, but it's very close. But when you play that back, it sounds more realistic, just slightly. Now the next thing is in the velocity. See how everything is uniform right here? We don't want it to be uniform. So I'm going to select these notes. And this sounds amazing when you just have it, when you have it playing back quietly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw here at the bottom. I'm going to draw a variation in the velocity. So some of the notes are played a little stronger than others, and let's listen to the playback on that. All right, so some of them, there's already some problems. Some of them are a little too soft. Oops. Let me highlight them again. So it's good to experiment with the velocities. I must have pressed a wrong button or something. Let's see. I'll figure this out. Let's try that again. Now, that's not supposed to be like that. Hey, sometimes these things happen. Let me go back and show you what I'm talking about. So right now there's a variation in the dynamic setting, and this is how it sounds. All right, so that didn't go as planned, and that's okay. I did it before, and it was very easy to do. All I did was selected the notes, the actual notes, and then I varied the dynamic level. So this is a way to get a better timing, or more human timing and more human velocity to get a more expressive sound, because you don't want all the notes to be exactly the same. Otherwise, it starts sounding robotic. Let's see what you guys are saying. Wonder if it would be possible to combine finger picking with some hammer-on pull-offs or brief slides, specific notes. I think so, Jose. And I'll try to get to that kind of stuff in future videos. The song does not lend itself to that, but I remember a few guitar tracks where such techniques are applied. Well, that's it for this video. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. And leave a comment below telling me what you think of this. There is a link to Ampleson's website if you want to purchase this, as well as Steinberg's website for Cubase if you don't own it and want to buy it. Also, a link for PayPal, Patreon, and Venmo if you want to support my channel and help continue videos like this. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.